One of the questions I get now living in the continent of Africa is, are African women easy to date? And so in this video, I'm going to actually break that down. I'm going to explain to you if it's easy or if it's not, and some of the things that you need to be looking at if you are looking to start dating abroad. So let's go ahead and get into the intro. Hey, Jason here. If you've been watching the channel, you've been seeing me as I've been on this nomad lifestyle for 9 years now. Been at it strong. I am on my fourth country, third continent, and I'm still doing this full time. And now I'm actually starting to settle in the country of Zambia in the city of Lusaka. And so one of the things I've started doing that now I'm back on the continent back on the continent of Africa is I've started to actually just share with some of the experiences, but most important, the things I have learned to be able to do this nomad lifestyle full time for 9 years now and never looking back. And so let's go ahead and get into the video topic of, are African women easier to date? Now, if you're someone who have never been overseas, you may not be experienced with dating women abroad. And if you are someone who's overseas, make sure you leave in the comments down below some of your advice or tips for guys out there. Because now, as the world is getting smaller and smaller with the internet and people are starting to travel more, and the other beautiful thing about that is people are starting to look for love outside of the things that they know. This is one of the things that I feel that the pandemic really did well, was open up the countries of the world to where now everybody's starting to look outside of what they know to see like, hey, there's some things better than what I may be used to. And one of those things is dating. And this is something like, I know some people don't like it when people go overseas to date, but it's just a reality now. More and more as working those very typical jobs, like typical government jobs, putting in 50, 60 years, those things are of days of the past. It's all about the hustle society. It's also about people who are out here in the digital economy. And this whole digital economy has opened up the world of travel to where now you can live in a whole nother country and still make dollars, euros, or whatever currency that you desire to make. And so with that, it has now created a whole new group of dating gurus out here that are telling guys, these women are better, this woman is better, this woman is easy to talk to or date. And I'm going to be honest with you, as someone who has been traveling abroad, I've been doing it for 9 years now. I actually started when I was 18 years old in the military, first went to South Korea, that everything is not butterflies and rainbows as these guys make it seem. But also a lot of that is some of these guys are just lying to you to get you on consultation calls. And some of them are just lying to you just to keep the views up on their channel because they are dependent on the money of their channel to keep supporting their lifestyle. Now, just to give you a caveat, yes, I have a YouTube channel. Yes, I do TikTok. I'm all across the social media platforms. However, this is not my way of sustaining my life. This is just, one, it's something that I like doing. And two, it's part of my system of MSIs, which is multiple streams of income. So this is just money that I use when I start making especially a lot of money from my social medias, to start using more in land development and acquiring more land as I'm traveling across Africa. Just to be completely honest with you about that. And so you may have heard of the Passport Bro community. And so there's a lot of them now that are starting to finally come to Africa, and they're giving a lot of misinformation and they're painting you a picture of Africa is just the most beautiful place. Africa is the place where you're going to find that submissive woman. If you're a Black American man, they're just going to bow down and bark like a dog for you, like on Coming to America. And I want to just give you the facts. Someone who's not trying to sell you a dream, someone who's also not trying to sell you a consultation fee, or someone that's trying to sell you on clickbait titles to get you to watch my videos. And so, short answer, are African women easier to date? Yes, and depending on the region that you're in. Now, I will say this, in the SADC region, which is Namibia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Zambia, Lesotho, Eswatini, South Africa, I find it very easy to date because English is very prevalent here. Now, if you go to a place like Tanzania, from my experience, and mind you, my experience was just a little bit over a week there, English was not a very prevalent dominant language there. And so I would find dating in Tanzania to be a lot harder. Does that mean people do not speak English? No, but what I mean is Tanzania reminded me of going back to Colombia and some Spanish speaking countries where you have to slow down completely on how you speak. And also, you have to start breaking up your English words. You have to think more about what you're saying to get your point and your message across. And so that's why I say, depending on the area of Africa is. Please remember, Africa is a continent. They do not have the shared language. There are thousands of tribes, I'm assuming, throughout the continent. I believe here in Zambia, there's like 100 or maybe, no, 72 here, I think. Botswana have a lot of tribes. South Africa have a lot of tribes. So each area has their own tribes, and that can be a mix of a lot of different languages. So please be mindful of that. Also, the thing about Africa or African women in this SADC region, which is what I'm focusing on, that makes it easier to date is they have common experience with Black American culture, meaning we share a lot of the same music. We share a lot of the same TV shows, movies. Like if you listen to some of their music that they used to listen to on Sundays with the family, it's a lot of the music we used to listen to on Sundays with our family. They listen to a lot of old school R&B, a lot of old school hip hop. Like here in Zambia, they have the Zambian Tupac. He looks like Tupac. He be trying to talk like him, using the vibe and stuff. And so you're going to have a lot of that shared experience. And so because of that shared experience, it's a lot easier to build connections here in this region. The second thing on top of that is when it comes to why it's easier to date African women, and this is something a lot of people do not talk about. When you move into a different culture or a different region, you have an open mind. You're not really coming in there with a closed mindset. And so because you're not coming there with a closed mindset, you're less judgmental than how you will be in your regular region. Like if you're from the United States and let's say the Southern area, you're going to be more closed-minded or more judgmental to women that you meet in the Southern area than if you go to the Pacific Northwest or the East Coast, because it's a different culture. And so when you completely leave all of your culture and go to something that's completely different, you're like in a childlike mindset of curiosity. And so you're really trying to experience, you're really trying to get to understand a person and know a person. And so that helps develop your communication skills a lot better because you're actually actively listening to them. You're actively asking questions. You're engaged in not only their life, but their history, their tradition and cultures and things of that nature. So those are the things that make it a lot easier to date women in this SADC region. Now, on top of that, let me just say this, and this is speaking to mainly the guys out there that watch the channel. If you're a guy, if you really want to build a strong connection, and it's not just with an African woman, this is with any woman, take sex off the table as being the prize that you're trying to get. Now, what I mean by taking sex off the table as the prize that you're trying to get is actually withhold from sex. Whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, you pick the time frame, whatever works for your lifestyle. Take sex off the table and make communication number one. Build that bond. See what are your shared interests. See what are your shared hobbies. What are your dreams, passions, things of that nature. Because one of the biggest misconceptions of African women that are being told out here and sold out here on the internet right now is African women are traditional. African women are modern. African women have goals. They're driven. They're ambitious. I've met more African women with high degrees than I've met anywhere else in the world. I've met more African women with side hustles, doing things on the side to make income than I have anywhere else in the world. So do not think they're just sitting here waiting for you to come here so they can cook and clean for you all day. That is not true. And also on top of that, don't think all African women think the same. You have to take into consideration, what tribe is that woman from? Each tribe may have a different traditional set of values that they have, traditional things that they may do. Some women that I've met, when they're handing you food or something, they may bow down. Like there's whole different things that each woman, depending on the tribe, does. It's their tribal rules. Also, on top of that, you need to understand that, let me say how to say this. You need to understand that if you go to a club or a place that's full of alcohol, the odds of you meeting the woman that's going to be perfect for your life is damn near zero. The same way in the United States, in the UK, in Colombia, if you meet a woman that's in the club lifestyle, that's what she's into. Like, you're not going to find this woman that wants to cook and clean and serve you in a club, guys. Like, stop this. And for some of these passport bros out here, stop selling these lies to guys. Stop setting people up for failure, making them think they can just go to the hottest club, find a 10, a woman that's just really bad, look like she's a model, and then she just want to settle down, cook and clean for you. No, that is not true. H. Now, if you just see what happened right now, that's called load shedding, guys. So if you've been wondering what load shedding is, that is what load shedding, when they cut the grid off of the electricity. It's been crazy now. If you want to know even more in depth on how bad it is and what it's like, make sure you watch my video. That was the update on Zambia. And so just be mindful of that, guys. Like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. That's not going to work. Okay, we're just going to do it a little bit darker. Let me move the camera a little closer. And this is one of the things about content creation that people don't show you or tell you. You just got to work with the punches. Things are not going to work perfect. As you see, I had my lighting on, and now it's like it's a little bit darker, but you just go with the punches and keep it moving. And so don't be looking for girls in the clubs. Don't be making sex a priority. Make conversation a priority. The better you can converse with a woman, the deeper that connection can be. And you can actually start building real bonds. And also on top of that, like, you need to have an understanding of your value system if you want to date, especially when you start dating abroad. Because, like I said earlier, when you leave and go to a new culture, a new country, you're actually in a state of curiosity. So just because you're in a state of curiosity, don't just believe everything you hear someone say. You need to focus on their value system. But you can't focus on someone else's value system if you do not understand what you value for yourself. And this is where, like I say, all these new age dating gurus, they're telling you, you need to be looking good. You need to be in the gym. You need to understand your values. If you do not have a hold of what your values are in life, you will never find a woman that can be compatible to your life. Point blank. The reason I was able to be in a successful marriage where we built it, we lasted until the day that CC died in my arms. We both understood our value system. On our first date, when we first went out and met, things that we were talking about was not sex. We were talking about what are the things we value for our life? What are the things what are the things that we desire for our life? And when we both saw that neither one of us was looking to be in the club scene, neither one of us was out here trying to be drunk, be belligerent out here in public, that's how we were able to realize, okay, we have a similar base. So let's see how we can build this. And the same goes here in Africa also. Remember, we're still on the same planet Earth. Just because we're in different cultures, different countries, different regions, we're still on the same planet. There is a shared way of thinking that we all have. And if you don't work on your basis, you're never going to make it work. So what do I mean by your value system? And I'm just give you a prime example with me. When you're focused on your value system, certain things that you like, you will start cutting off because it's not suitable for the relationship. So like for me, as someone who grew up going to strip clubs at a young age, I like going to strip clubs. Even to this day, I don't mind going to a strip club. There's none in Zambia, but I would not mind going to a strip club. It's just a part of who I am. When I was in the military, I used to go. But one of the things I noticed once I got married, that was not the best place or atmosphere for a married man. Even though I was not out there messing with strippers and doing things like that, let's just be honest. Who really is going to respect a married man that's just in the strip club every weekend? One, you're taking away money from your relationship, from the household. And two, you're being around a bunch of naked women all day or every weekend. And so when I was doing my self analysis, I told myself, okay, I got to let this part of the things that I like go. Because when you're building a relationship, it's two individuals coming together to build a third party, which is the relationship. Like, no one is going to accept you for 100% of who you are. You have to grow the relationship. And if you're saying, I'm going to just be me, I'm not going to change, and this person's supposed to be open, it's not going to work. As you see, my hands are not interlocked. Both of you have to be open to let go of things to build that relationship to where it's a strong foundation. And there was things that Cece on her end, she let go of. And that's how we came together. And so just please be mindful of that, guys. And this is mainly for the guys on this one. Like, what are some of the things that you're willing to let go? Understand your value system. Like, I'll tell you this, like, if you're in South Africa, you're going to find a lot of great women at marketplaces, whether it's a night market or the daytime markets, different function events and functions that they have. Here in Zambia, you can find great women in the grocery store or walking around. Like, you're not going to find these people in the club. I'm sorry. Like, I know a lot of people out here want to be able to go turn up, but turn up and stable relationship don't mix. How many times do we have to see this same scenario over and over again before we realize something's not right here? And remember, Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So if going to the club did not help you find a good woman in your home country, why would it change coming to a new country? So just think about that. And so hopefully the volume is working good on this video. I apologize for that last video. I'm going to put this one up today. And just remember this, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you're someone who's dating abroad and you have anything to add to this video, leave it down below. One of the things that we need to be doing from 2024 and forward is sharing more information. The more we can help the next person is going to come back and help us also. And so just remember this, I'm Jason, and success is simple once you know how.